1 meter square, that is 1 meter. This is 1 meter wider, right? And 1 meter long, right? So 1 meter square area. So area will be 1 meter square. Now the time span for counting the productivity, that will be 1 year, right? So we'll take 1 year time, right? So now what we are doing, so suppose that I have a small plot, or I have a small garden at my home, and what I am doing, this is a winter time, so I am growing peas over there. After the winter will go on, like they'll go away. So what we'll do, the next season will come. So on arrival of the next season, what I am going to do, so I'm going to grow something else. Then I grow something else. So I'll take the 1 year time span, and then I'll count how much the biomass I have grown over there in 1 meter square area. So the biomass, I'll count the biomass, and I'll take the biomass unit, that will be the kg, or I can take two of the unit, either kg or gram or kilocalorie. So there are two things. Either I will take mass as a kilogram or gram, or I'll count it as kilocalorie, right? So normally, what is the productivity? So productivity is the amount of dry biomass. Why I'm saying the dry biomass? Whenever we count the biomass in ecosystem, what exactly we do? We dehydrate it. We remove the water content. Suppose that I got 1 kilogram of plant part. So I have to ensure that the plant part must not have any water content. So whenever we take the productivity, we always count the dry biomass, right? So in terms of productivity, so what I am doing, I am counting the biomass, whatever I have grown in this 1 meter square area, right? So now what is the productivity? Productivity is the amount of biomass produced in per meter square in 1 year of time span. So that is the productivity. So what will be the unit of productivity? So unit of productivity will be kilocalorie per meter square per year, right? We can write it this way: kilocalorie per meter square per year, or we can say this is the gram meter square per year, or we can say this is the kilogram meter square per year, right? That is the unit of productivity. That's what I was asking. Got it or not? Clear?
Yes, sir.
So are you people writing down the notes as well, or just you're trying to understand, just you get the topic on? Because sir is already teaching you, so he dictate notes or not?
He gave notes, sir.
They give some notes. Okay, they dictate it, or they give notes in written form, for PDF and all that.
He dictated the notes.
Right. So productivity is complete, eh? Yes. So that is the productivity part. If you want, you can note it down. This is the unit.
Okay, sir.
So these are the unit. Actually, the question have already have been asked in medical examination. So I'm just giving you insight of the question. Done?
1 minute, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Done, sir.
Great. Now the gross primary productivity, this is the basically primary productivity, what we discussed right now. Net primary productivity, in net primary NPP, we call it NPP. In net primary productivity, actually what happens that the plant makes some food, and whatever the biomass they produce, some amount of the biomass they utilize themselves. So we call them respiratory losses, right? So suppose that a plant had made 100 gram of the glucose or 100 gram of the starch. So what will happen that it will not store it all 100 gram. What will happen that out of it 10 gram it will use for itself for the sake of respiration. So that has been lost. So in the nut, what it have produced? It have produced just a 90 gram, right? So the 10 gram which have utilized by the plant itself by the process of for the process of respiration. So we'll deduct that. So that we call respiratory loss. So here net primary productivity NPP is, that is GPP, gross primary productivity, minus respiratory losses. That is called net primary productivity. So whatever the productivity we measure, whatever the productivity we get, that we get the net primary productivity, right? We never get the gross primary productivity. Why? Because 10%, 20%, 15%, whatever the percentage, it depends on plant to plant. The plant utilize for itself or for its own processes or its own physiological process. Now, what is the secondary productivity? Secondary productivity. Oh. Plants are producer. They are whatever they are producing, that is the primary productivity. Now, what is the secondary productivity? Suppose that there is a rabbit, and every day rabbit is eating the plant. So whatever the mass rabbit is gaining means whatever the mass these consumers are gaining, right? So that is called secondary productivity. Clear? So rate of formation of new organic matter by consumers, right? So whatever the mass consumer produces, that is called secondary productivity. Clear? So this was all about the productivity. Now what we have to start actually, so we have to start with the decomposition, right? Decomposition part. So can you tell me what is the decomposition? I'll dictate you as well from here only because the sir have already. So what is it? Can you tell me? Actually, I have written everything over here, so you can read out. So can you tell me what is the detrivores? Can you give me the example of detrivores?
So we didn't learn decomposition.
Right. They eat dead and decaying. Any example? Detrivores.
Earthworm.
Very good. That is the excellent example of earthworm. Are the excellent example. Even the leeches do the same, right? So in decomposition, basically, it is start in the like in the form of detrivores, or we call it detrivore chain as well, right? Look. So what is the detritus basically? What is my way of teaching? So I always suggest you to make these flow diagram. So these are basically we call it schematic charts and a schematic diagram. So if I am not wrong, that you people will be first your like the primary attempt will be your board examination, and then many of you must be trying for the medical examination. So the first goal it must be if I am not wrong, it must be your 12th board examination. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I suggest you, and I have always taken the benefit of this one. Whenever write the answer, to get good marks in board examination is not that how much intelligent you are. To get good marks in examination, what I have perceived, that is the how beautifully you represent your knowledge, right? And I have always got very good marks because of this schematic diagram. So whenever you write an answer in your board examination or in school examination, what exactly you have to do? Suppose that they are asking for the decomposition. First, write it down the definition. After the writing down the definition, you have to jot down this schematic diagram, this kind of schematic diagram. And these schematic diagram you will not get from anywhere. What you have to do, you have to develop your own schematic diagram or flow chart. So if you'll write it down the definition, then if you'll write it down the flow chart, and then whatever you will write, right, they will give you the good marks. Because after getting the flow chart, the teacher comes to know that the student who is answering knows each and everything. He or she is not going to bother to read much more. In case if you have done some mistake, so even that will hide out, right? So to get good marks, this is my suggestion. Always make these schematic diagrams or flow chart. So how does this start? So first, what is the detritus? Detritus is actually, this is the dead or raw material of plant or animal part. So whatever the dead part of the plant or animal, detritus also include the feces or stools of the animals, right? So all those leaf, all those twigs, all those parts, or fruits, all those parts which fell down from the plant, and these are the dead part, right? So we consider all of them detritus. So that is the dead raw material, means the decomposition yet have not started. This is the fresh raw material which came out or as a byproduct of any plant or animal part, right? Now then what happened? Then the first step, the decomposition is not the first step, right? That is the final step. Basically, detritus, first it undergoes for the fragmentation. Now in process of fragmentation, there are certain animals, small animals like snail, earthworm, as you have already told me. So these animals, what exactly they do? They start breaking down into small fragments, right? So that process is called fragmentation. So detritus undergo the fragmentation process. So fragmentation is done by these kind of the worms like snail, earthworm, and all that. So after the fragmentation means it had been broken down into small pieces. Now what happens? That is called leaching process. Fragmentation taken place. Now can you tell me what is the leaching process? Any one of you? What is leaching process? Shaheen, Fatima. Leaching is important. It has been asked many times. Rifat, Atif, tell me what is the leaching? No one? Look.
Inorganic, like inorganic nutrients, they go down the soil.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. That is the leaching process. And is it good or bad for the plant? It's bad for the plant because then plant need it, right? Look, what is the leaching process? So after the fragmentation, some of the inorganic material, salt, they are released by as a stool, as the feces, as the excretion of these small organism like a snail and earthworm, right? So some mineral part or mineral or salt, they are released. So what happened if there is a humidity and if temperature is high? These two things. If there is a humidity and if temperature is high, what will happen? These part will wash away. They will keep on going down inside the towards the earth. So they will wash away from the top layer. What will happen? Actually, plant require them. So when the leaching takes place, the plant loses some mineral, right? So after the fragmentation, basically leaching takes place, right? Then after the leaching, what happened? The remaining material is decomposed. Now this is the process of decomposition. Now the bacteria start working on it. What bacteria do? Bacteria break down these organic material and as well as inorganic material into mineral compound, right? So they convert it into basic compound, basic mineral, right? Basic units. So that is a process called catabolism. So they break down larger molecule into smaller molecule. For sake of example, if suppose that there is a glucose C6H12O6, right? So what they will do, they will break down into carbon dioxide, they will break down into something else, right? So that's how they break down. Catabolism is the process of breakdown. So bacteria take the action and catabolism takes place after the leaching. Then what happened? At the top part, so first thing, the mineral washed away. Now the fragmented part, which is spread across the or at the top soil. So what happened? The catabolism start and bacteria breaks down it. Then what happened? These mineral, these organic material, they mix up with the soil and they make top layer at the top of the soil. They make a brown color material, right? And this brown color material is called humus, right? And the process of formation of humus, right? So what I said, after the decomposition, three things left. Soil is already there. Some mineral which left behind from the leaching, they are there, and then organic material which has been broken down the bacteria. These three things get mixed and they make a brown color material. We call it humus, right? And the process of formation of humus is called humification. So after the catabolism, humification takes place. Then the final step is mineralization. What happened? these mineral get mixed with the soil, and this process is called mineralization. This complete process is basically called decomposition, right? So we also call it detritus food chain, right, or a detritus chain. So this is the process of decomposition. Is it clear or not? Please tell me.
Yes.
Right. So please note down this flow chart. Then I'll dictate what is the decomposition.
Sir, can you repeat the last part?
Yeah, sure. What happened? The mineralization after the humification, humus is formed, right? Then what happened? This soil get mixed with the these all part. This humus actually get mixed with the soil, and this mixing of the humus with the soil is called mineralization. So first, please note down the flow chart. Then I'll dictate you. Done? Note it down.
Yes, sir.
Right. So please start writing now. Put the heading decomposition. Decomposition is breakdown of complex organic matter into inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water, nutrient, and other substances. Full stop. The process start with detritus. The process starts with detritus formation. It is the dead remains of plant and animal and fecal matter. Plant, animal, and fecal matter. Full stop. It is raw material. It is raw material for the. It is raw material for the start of. It is raw material for the starting of decomposition process. It is the raw material for the starting of decomposition process. Next point. The process of decomposition includes fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, and catabolism, comma, humidification and mineralization. Next point. Humus is further degraded by some microbes and release of inorganic nutrient takes place. Release of inorganic nutrient takes place by the process of mineralization. Make a note over there. Note. Warm and moist environment favors the decomposition. Moist and warm environment favors the decomposition, while low and anaerobic condition inhibit the decomposition. Is it clear? Decomposition process? Is that clear to all of you? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. So the next thing is that is the energy flow. The third part is that is the energy flow. So how does the energy flow takes place? And what do you say about the 10% law? Is it universal law? Is it applicable everywhere or not? Tell me.
Sir, I'm having network problems, sir. Can you repeat what you asked?
Actually, I want to ask, do you know the 10% law? And is it applicable everywhere? Is it universally true or not?
Yes, sir. True.
True. Okay. Shaheen, what about you? Fatima?
I don't know, sir.
You don't know. Okay. Fatima, what about you? Is it true?
Sir, I don't know either.
Okay. Right. Rifat?
Sir, I don't know.
Okay. Hanifa? 10% law.
I think
But-
it's true.
Yes, please tell me. Are you telling something?
I think it's true.
It's true. Okay, you think it's true. Look. So generally notebook says that it's true, but it's not true everywhere. It's a very it's applicable for very limited options or very limited example. Actually, 10% law says that whenever the energy transfer takes place from one organism to another, for sake of example, you must have gone through with the food chain. So, for example, rabbit have taken the plant, right? Let me tell you first food chain, and let me show you an example. Let me write it down an example, then you'll be able to understand it in more better manner. So, what 10% loss is, then it will be easy for me to explain that what is the process. Look, 10% loss is, so suppose that there is a grass, right? So grass is eaten by a rabbit. A rabbit is eating grass. So whatever the mass or whatever the energy has been trapped by the grasses, because there are the only plant which have the capability of trapping the energy or solar energy, right? They are the only energy receiver, or they are the only who can trap the energy. So whatever the energy have, so suppose that a grass have captured 1,000 calorie energy, 1,000 kilocalorie energy, right? So this energy have been trapped by the grass. So 10% law says only 10% energy will be transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level, right? So rabbit will get, how much the rabbit will get? 10% of 1,000. So rabbit will get only 100 kilocalorie of energy, right? Now the rabbit have been eaten by, suppose that it has been eaten by wolf, right? So whenever the wolf will eat the rabbit, so out of this 100 calorie energy, only 10% will be transferred from one trophic level to another. Wolf will get only 10 kilocalorie of energy. Out of this, suppose that this wolf have been eaten by lion, right? So only 10% energy. So lion will get only 10% will be transferred. Lion will get only 1 kilocalorie energy. So whatever the energy were produced by this plant, these plant, only 1 calorie will be transferred to the lion, right? So 10% lot says whenever the like in a food chain, the transfer of only 10% energy takes place from one trophic level to another trophic. That is a 10%. But this law is applicable for only this exam. It is not applicable for every exam, right? Did you got that 10% law? So if someone says that 10% law is applicable or not, you have to say no. The 10% law have its limitation. This is applicable for only limited examples. What is that limited example? This law is applicable only for the grassland. It is not applicable for everywhere, right? This is the 10% law. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll explain each and everything. First, I want to make you understand, right? Next, look. So, who are the primary producer? So this is the food chain I have explained in general. So what is the food? Who are the food producer? So basically, we call them primary producer, right? So primary producer. So primary producer are just plant, right? And plant have been kept in first trophic level. So plant always in every food chain, plant will always come in first trophic level, right? So here in the first trophic level, we have incorporated plant. Then these producers are eaten by the herbivores, right? So we call them primary consumers. So basically herbivores are primary consumers. So those who are herbivores are those who are directly dependent on the plant, they are called primary consumers, right? So primary consumers are basically herbivores. They always comes in second trophic level, right? So we call them second trophic because first trophic level, there will be always plant, right? Then second trophic level, there will be herbivores. Now these herbivores are eaten by carnivores, right? Like the deer is a primary herbivore, right? It is eaten by the lion. So lion is secondary consumer, right? So secondary consumer. So secondary consumer are those which are basically carnivores and they exclusively eat to herbivores only, right? Like lions. So they are like hyena, like lions. So they are secondary consumer, right? So they come in the third trophic level. Now there are certain animals which eat primary consumer as well as secondary consumer. Means they eat herbivore as well as carnivore, like humans. So human can eat deer, human can eat lion as well, right? They are called tertiary consumer, and they are the final consumer of the food chain, right? In final consumer, they are always found at the fourth trophic level, and we call them top carnivores, like lion and human. They come in the top carnivore, right? Example is given over here, right? First producers are, they are tree, phytoplankton, algae, right? Primary consumer, they are zooplankton or grasshopper. The secondary consumer, they are bird, fishes, and wolf. Top consumer, they are man and lion, right? Please make this flow chart, then I'll dictate it. Let me know when you note it down. Done.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So is it clear to everyone? Then I'll dictate. Tell me. Tell me frankly, it's clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right, right. So please note it down. Of the incident solar radiation, of the incident solar radiation, less than 50% of it, less than 50% of it is photosynthetically less than 50% of it is photosynthetically active radiation. Less than 50% of it is photosynthetically active radiation. Means this is meant for photosynthesis. And we call it, in short, we call it PAR, photosynthetically active radiation. It is called PAR. Full stop. The plant capture, so whatever the radiation comes from the sun, only less than 50% is available for the photosynthesis. The plant capture only 2 to 10% of PAR. The plant capture only 2 to 10% of PAR. And this small amount of energy sustain entire living world. Full stop. The flow of energy is unidirectional from producer to consumer. The flow of energy is unidirectional from producer to consumer. Full stop. Next. First, please write it down. What is the 10% law? The only 10% law. The only 10% energy is transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level in food chain. Rest is gone waste. Full stop. This law is strictly applicable. This law is strictly applicable for grazing food chain only. This law is applicable for grazing food chain only. One more important thing which I want to ask, what is the standing crop? What is the standing crop? Anyone? No. Okay, let me tell you. Suppose that you are starting a fishery. You have made a pond. Now it is empty pond. You have filled it with the water, but there is neither any plant or not any animal. So what happened? Suppose that you brought some small fish seedling or fish eggs and fish seeds. We call them fish seeds. So you put it over there. Now after the 2 months, the total number of the amount of the fishes, so that is the 1 ton, right? So at present, like today, it's 7th of the December. Now at the 7th of December, the total amount of the fish available, that is 1 ton. So a standing crop is 1 ton. After, because this will change, because it would be after 1 month, it would be maybe 2 ton, 2.5 ton, or 3 ton. So whatever the mass may be, that will change. So standing crop changes after time to time. Or suppose that what happened that in between I taken out the 10% of the fishes. I sold it. So this is not 1 ton. It's only like 9 quintal or 900 kilogram, right? So the standing crop is the amount or available outcome at particular time period. That is called a standing crop, right? If you want, please note it down. The standing crop is the amount of biomass available. Standing crop is the amount of biomass available at particular time period in an ecosystem. Right, that is called a standing crop. Is it clear? So energy flow is clear. Function of ecosystem. Tell me if you have any doubt, please ask me.
Clear, sir.
Okay, now the next one is ecological pyramids. So they're very simple, but they are very simple. But believe on me, you'll get confused if you get this question in medical examination. But even in the school examination, they ask different kind of the systems, right? Different ecological pyramids. It's very simple, by the way. So they are just nothing. They are the relationship between the different trophic level, right? That is called the ecological pyramids. So when we take the ecological pyramids, so ecological pyramids are basically of 3 types. In the first kind of the ecological pyramid, we take the number of the organism present at every trophic level. Second, we take the mass of the organism that is present in particular trophic level. And the third one is energy ecological pyramid. In energy ecological pyramid, we take the energy which is in the form of kilocalorie only, right? So please note it down. Ecological pyramid. Then first note down the definition. Then I'll explain like what are the ecological pyramid, what kind of the ecological pyramids are there. So ecological pyramids. The relationship between different trophic level, in term of number, biomass, energy, number, biomass, and energy is represented by pyramids. To put the first subheading, pyramid of number. So in pyramid of number, we take the number of organism present at every trophic level. The number of organism present at every trophic level. So the first pyramid of number, that is a grassland ecosystem, right? So the first one, that is a grassland ecosystem, right? So these are in the form of example only. You have not to write it down. You will get only the, please draw or make the draw the well level diagram or draw the diagram of grassland ecosystem, pond ecosystem, and all that. Look, so first we have taken the example of grassland ecosystem. at the base of any pyramid, there always be producer. So first it will be producer, then it will be primary consumer, then it will be secondary consumer, then it will be tertiary or top consumer, right? So we did the same thing over here. At the base, it is the grasses, right? So grasses are always in the largest number. So base is the widest one. Then the number of insects which are feeding the grasses, or number of the insects which are dependent on the grasses, they will be always lesser number than the grasses. Hence, the number of insect will be lesser than grass plant. So the upper block is smaller. Then there will be some snake or some other animals which will eat, like a snake, grasshopper. They will eat the insect, right? Then the number of snake which are dependent on the insect, there will be lesser number. Then the snake can be eaten by eagle. So the number of eagles which eat the snake, there will be lesser. So now what happened? The base is wider and the upper part has become narrower and narrower. So this is the grassland ecosystem, and it is always upright. So when we draw a grassland ecosystem in the pyramid of number, it is always upright. So this arrow represents the upright. Please draw the first one. Then we'll go to the pond ecosystem. Done? Note it down.
Sir, what have you written for the second one? Snakes and
Snakes
the
and
other one?
just grasshopper, right? Snakes and grasshopper. Noted?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then come to the pond ecosystem, right? Simple. I don't think so that it's difficult. So let the pond ecosystem. In pond, in the first trophic level or in the producer, there will be algae, right, or phytoplankton. So who are the producer? So producer are algae, phytoplankton. They'll be large in number. They are very small microorganism, right? They are very large in number. So they are the producer. Now, who are the primary consumer? So primary consumer are only fishes, and they are small fishes which are herbivores. They eat on the algae. Basically, the algae, that is the golden brown algae or diatoms. They are basically eat on them, right? So small fishes eat phytoplankton or algae, right? The number of the fishes which eat the algae or phytoplankton, they are small. The small fishes, their number is lesser. Then these small fishes are eaten by the larger fishes, right? These large fishes, which are the carnivores, they are the secondary consumer. So even their number will be lesser, right? So in comparison to herbivorous small fishes. Now there will be very few crocodile who must be eating on these large fishes, right? So they are the at the top consumer, right? Even in the pond ecosystem, this is upright, right? So pyramid of number in pond ecosystem is upright. It's easy to understand, but it's really difficult to remember when it comes in the examination. So you have to just have a glance 2 or 3 times whenever you get the time, right? So please note it down. The pond ecosystem. Second example. Let me know when you do it.
Done, sir.
Done. Okay, great. So now come to the uh, forest ecosystem. Still, we are talking about the. This is the third example, third type, in fact, of the pyramid of number. When we talk about the tree or forest ecosystem, it is irregular. This is not upright. Why? Because at the base, the number of the tree is just one. It's large banyan tree, very large banyan tree. So there is a number is only one. Now there will be number of the birds which have made the nest on the this uh, tree. They are eating the fruits of tree. They are just eating the any vegetable part of their tree. So they are dependent on the tree. So their number is more. So the base is narrower one, but there may be elephant which must be eating the leaf of this one. There must be deer which are eating the leaves of the which fell down, right? So there are like those primary consumer. The number of the primary consumer is more, right? So there are more primary consumer, but producer is just one, right? Here the T is producer. So now the number of pyramid is not like uh, pyramid of number is not working over here. Producers. So these are the primary consumer. So number of the primary consumer is more. Now what will happen? Those snakes and wolf which are dependent or which are eating the birds or the deer, their number will be less. Now this is narrower. Again, those lion which are eating the wolf, their number will be lesser one. So by this way, when we talk about the pyramid of forest or pyramid of the tree ecosystem, in terms of pyramid of number, the shape become irregular. So please note it down. Done.
Done, sir.
Okay.
Done, sir.
Now come to the number of pyramid of number. Now the next example is parasite ecosystem. It's really very important. Parasite ecosystem. These both are examples. These both are important because in the board exam you can get. Please draw the available diagram of the forest ecosystem or parasite ecosystem in terms of pyramid of number. Now when we talk about the parasite ecosystem, we talk about the parasite chain. So in parasite chain, again the trees at the base. Now who are the parasites in the tree? They are the birds. So number of birds are more. Now those ticks, mites and parasite like lices, ticks, mites, their numbers are more than the number of birds because every bird may have thousands of the ticks, mites or hundreds of the ticks and mites, right? So their number will be more. Again, on these parasites like ticks, mites and on lices, the number of the bacteria and the fungi which are living on them, their number will be more. So now they every time in the next trophic level, the number of the organism is increasing. By this way, the parasite ecosystem, the pyramid of number become inverted. It becomes just upside down, right? So that is the like number of pyramid is also not working over here, right? So this system is not working even here. So please note it down. Tree is producer, right? Birds are primary consumer, parasites are secondary consumer, bacteria are top consumer. Note it. Done.
Done, sir.
Okay. Now it comes about the number of. So because when we draw the parasite ecosystem, when we draw about the forest ecosystem, this pyramid become irregular or inverted. It means the number of this number system, with counting the number of organism at every trophic level, is not working over here. So to represent in better relation, we draw the another kind of the ecological pyramid, that is a biomass. So in biomass, we take the biomass of the organism present at every trophic level, right? at the every trophic level of food chain. So please note it down. In pyramid of biomass, next heading is pyramid of biomass. In pyramid of biomass, we take gram dry weight per unit area. In pyramid of biomass, we take gram dry weight per unit area at every trophic level. Let's talk. The first is grassland ecosystem. So the first example is grassland ecosystem. Look here, when we talk about the grasses, yes, the amount or biomass of the grass is more than the amount of primary consumer, that is a rabbit or mouse. So that will be lesser. Amount of the snake, that will be lesser. Amount of the eagle or biomass of the eagle will lesser. So even here, the pyramid of number, it was upright grassland ecosystem. Here, even the pyramid of biomass, the grassland ecosystem is erect or upright. Please note it down. Done.
Done, sir.
Okay. Now look, when we were drawing the forest ecosystem in pyramid of number, it was irregular. But look, when we take the biomass as a measurement, as a measure, and take biomass, or when we put into this forest ecosystem into pyramid of biomass, it becomes upright. Look, now here we can explain easily. Now the amount of the number of the tree is just one banyan tree. When we count the biomass, it's very huge, right? So biomass is too much. So now the base become wider one, right? So when we count the biomass, that is the maximum biomass is of tree, that is banyan tree. Now the birds and deer which are dependent on that tree, their biomass is lesser. Then the snake and wolf which are dependent on these birds and deer, their biomass is lesser, and the biomass of the lion is lesser one. So the forest ecosystem become upright when we draw it in the pyramid of biomass. So please note it. Note it down.
Done, sir.
Okay, great. Now the next one is that pond ecosystem. Look, the pond ecosystem was upright in pyramid of number. Now here the pond ecosystem is inverted. Look, because the zooplankton, their number is very large, but they are very small, they are very tiny. So their biomass is very less. So the producer are in very less amount in comparison to the biomass. Then the amount of the small fish, that is larger. Then the amount of the larger fish, that is more larger. So pond ecosystem, which was upright in pyramid of number, it become inverted over here. Please note it down. So what is the best solution? Even we are unable, this is also not a perfect system, because the pond ecosystem, it become inverted over here, right? Please note it down.
Done, sir.
Okay, great. So what is the best solution? That is the pyramid of energy. Pyramid of energy is never inverted. It is always upright. Why? Because whenever the transfer of energy takes place from one trophic level to another trophic level, it may or may not be 10%, but whenever the energy transfer will take place, the energy loss will take place. There is no perfect system where the energy transfer takes place perfectly, like 100% to 100%. There is no such kind of the system, natural or artificial system. There is nothing that kind of the system where transfer of energy level, exact amount of energy travel takes place, right? So it will always be upright, right? So pyramid of energy is always upright, and this is the best explanation in any um, ecosystem, right? So please note it down. Pyramid of energy. Pyramid of energy is always upright. Pyramid of energy is always upright. As whenever the transfer of energy, as whenever the transfer of energy takes place from one trophic level to another trophic level, as whenever the transfer of energy takes place from one trophic level to another trophic level, energy losses always occurs. Full stop. In pyramid of energy, we always take kilocalorie per unit area. Kilocalorie per unit area within unit time. Kilocalorie per unit area within unit time. This was the last pyramid. So tell me if you have any doubt regarding the pyramids. By the way, it was very easy. Tell me. Go through it with your with the help of your NCRT or whatever the textbook you have. So go through with it, and in case if you have any doubt regarding the pyramids, please ask me. Is it clear? Shine, Fatima.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Atif, Rifat. Everything
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Okay. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Great, great. So the next thing is that is the succession. Succession is very important. It always comes as a long question, right? It never comes hardly. Like I haven't seen hardly. I've seen that it has been asked in fragment or it has been asked as a uh, the small 3 marker or 2 marker question. It will always be a 5 marker question, right? And the case study kind of thing you will get from the ecology only. So what is the ecological success? What is the succession basically? Can you explain me the term succession? What does it mean? What is succession? Any one of you? You must have, I know you must have listened. I'm sure you must have listened this term, succession. Any one of you? Come on. Look. If there is any area, in ancient time, if there is any area, some king used to acquire that area and used to make a palace, used to make a fort, and then used to rule over there. When king used to die, someone else, the prince, most probably the prince, when king used to die, the prince become the king. And he becomes the successor of his father. Then their son comes, the elder one becomes the successor of that. Then someday what happened? The third generation is ruling. Someone attack over there. He kills that king and become the king. Now he becomes the successor, right? So the first person who acquired that area, he will be called primary successor, right? That was primary successor. Whenever some invader came and killed that king, this was the secondary successor, right? And all those people who ruled over there are called successors. And this sequence, this series from number 1 king, first king to 10th king, this series is called what? This series is called ecological succession. And we call them, each individual is called seer, S-E-R-E, seer, when you use in terms of the plant. Suppose that if somewhere there is a barren land, not even single vegetation is present over there. It's a just barren land. When the first plant species came, whatever the species came, we call it pioneer community. Then second plant come, so that I have mentioned over here with the help of flowchart. Look, so what is that? So first one, whoever like the plant community comes, we call it pioneer community. Then second successor comes, like these are removed by this one, second successor, third successor, fourth successor, fifth. These all successors are called seer. Second, third, fourth, fifth. And at the final stage, right, succession end up. Suppose that at the finally the angiosperms came. So the final community is called climax community. So the first one who come any places, they are called pioneer community. Then in between the series, they are called seer community. Then the last one, which at that point this the ecosystem becomes stable, they are called climax community, and the process is called successor. Is it clear? Are you getting me?
Yes.
Okay. So I think the sir will start. He'll take the next class. I don't know. If I'll take, then we'll start from the here. Even if the sir will take, he'll start from the here. Right. So did you got all the point? Whatever I have explained, like there may be some disconnect because you was taking the class of someone else. Right. Now today suddenly I have given you class. So is there any difficulty or any problem, any query? You can share with me. Got all points or not? Tell me. Shaheen, Fatima, all of you, please tell me. Did you got all points?
Yes, sir.
Atif,
Yes.
every point was clear?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. So after the class, do one thing. Go through with your NCRT, right? And in case if you have any doubt, if you have any query, you can ask me next class, right? Fine. So now it's time to say goodbye. Bye-bye. Take care. Good night. See you in next class.